Hey Sam, hey everyone.
Hey, so for those in the community, I imagine it's not very many, but for those that don't know what CommunityXYZ is, maybe you could give us a little bit of an overview.
Yeah, for sure. So CommunityXYZ is the dashboard and a platform where you can easily go and keep track of your own community. You can create your own community from there. And you can also go and see other communities to know what they are doing, what they are working on, all the votes that are happening. So all the governance that it's happening on that community. So pretty much everything that you can manage inside a profit sharing community, you are able to do it by going into Community XYZ. And we also created a JavaScript library. So you can easily also interact with your community from your own, let's say, admin platform or dashboard that you have created somewhere else. And with that, we also have opportunities, which is another idea that we came up with to allow communities to create opportunities, create little little tasks for people to participate on them. And then they get rewarded on the same tokens of your profit sharing community that you have created.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was muted for a second. Okay, yeah, so that's amazing. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about, I think, if I'm not mistaken, CommunityXYZ was the first profit-sharing community in existence, itself a profit-sharing community run via CommunityXYZ, so on, self-bootstrapping.
Yeah.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about what you've been working on recently and where things are going.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it was CommunityXYZ was the first community created on top of CommunityXYZ. So yeah, we are also decentralized, fully decentralized, because even if community.xyz goes down, there's a PermaWeb version that exists. And yeah, we have a caching system that allows it to load faster by going into community.xyz. But even without the caching system, it all works. So yeah, it's fully decentralized and it's also open source. So anyone can go ahead on GitHub and check out the source code. And yeah, lately with the NFT boom that started happening pretty much everywhere, and even inside of Arweave, which I'm really, really happy that it started finally, because since the very beginning, I was like, I don't get why people don't host their NFTs on top of Arweave.
Yeah.
Since all of that could easily disappear, let's say, from the Web 2.0 and from another server. So yeah, I'm really happy that that started. And with that, it came the Atomic NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so with the Atomic NFTs, people are able now to create a community, which is also an NFT. So it's an NFT that holds an entire profit sharing community behind it. Yeah. And the first person that tried this out is Kevin Abash with his 1111 tokens. So each single of one of those NFTs, it's also a profit sharing community behind it. So yeah, what I'm working on mostly right now is I want to allow people to easily create communities, create NFTs that are a community at the same time. So
interesting.
Pretty much the same thing as the page where you go and you create a community. Now you will be able to deploy some content, let's say an audio, an image, something else. And at the same time, it will be a profit sharing community behind it.
Wow. I just noticed that Nicholas in the chat says that he's also working with someone on an NFT dApp as well, which reminds me of Evermore, who are doing this. Verto have their own profit sharing token stroke NFT. I guess it's really a wrapper for the underlying Verto protocol, that one. But on top of that, there's also Koi.rocks that is doing this. So it's amazing to see that there are all of these clients for NFT related activity being built on top of the system. And I think in almost every case, interoperable, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, something that people often forget is that what you build on top of Arweave, it's accessible by pretty much anyone else that builds a project on top of it. So yeah, if, for example, you have a community, you can interact with it, even without using our library, our JavaScript library, by just using the Arweave API.
Right.
So yeah, I think that right now, maybe we aren't all aligned on the standards, let's say, for each NFT that is created. But yeah, I think we will get to a point that all of these projects will interact with each other to create an NFT that works with something else at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, I think you're right. Like, there's got to be a process of, consensus, like fuzzy social consensus that happens around the standards, which we're already well into that.
And yeah, sorry. Yeah, and right now, for example, at least for me, all of this is just testing things out. And I'm pretty sure most of us are just testing pretty much all of this at the same time. So it's hard to get with a standard right away, but at least we get used to how it works, and then we can work together into bringing something.
And I think the interesting thing here is all about protocol composability, which I know like I go on about all the time, but I really think that it is the thing that will make the PermaWeb stand out above Web 2 over like the short to medium term, is that as soon as you get a few of these applications in the space, the amount of things you can do with your other applications multiplies. And that means we get this exponential growth in the number of things you can easily build on top of the PermaWeb, because all of these protocols are open and anyone can interact with them. I think it's going to look basically like Composability did in DeFi during the last summer, would be my guess, is the explosion that's going to happen, or is kind of already happening. We're in the early stages of it. It's just going to look slightly different, because this time it's about data rather than about money, or at least actually sometimes data and money, the linkage between the two, but not just money. It's just pretty interesting. Speaking of, I think there's something you didn't mention, but I think it's super cool and not many people know about in the ecosystem. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about activity logs in CommunityXYZ.
Yeah, so activity is something that we started, we released it. I think it has been maybe 2 months ago, something like that. So it's fairly new. But yeah, pretty much every community, or even any project at all, like anything at all, could have these activities that are then shown on top of your community. For example, if you have a community, but yeah, you can interact also by going into a wallet, into someone's wallet, and then you are able to see those activities that are happening. On top of a CommunityXYZ, you are able to go to those wallets and you are able to see that. But yeah, pretty much anyone can implement it. And yeah, when I created that idea, it came by doing pretty much a standard. So it doesn't have anything related to CommunityXYZ on the tags. So it's only a few tags that you add into your own transaction that you are normally sending. So for example, for let's say ArDrive, they create a transaction to submit content onto the PermaWeb to deploy the content. They just need to add a few extra tags for that exact content, and then it will appear on the activities that X person deployed X file, for example, if they want to do it that way. So yeah, and yeah, I tried to make it as standard as possible so anyone can use it, since I don't want it just to be for communities.
Right. I mean, that's the exciting thing. It's essentially creating a logging standard, an open logging standard that any application can just add a couple of tags, and then the interactions with their application can be openly auditable by people. And that, when you and I were having the first conversations about what a supporting interface for profit sharing communities would look like, one of the things that was obvious was we need somewhere where people can vote. Another thing that was obvious was we also need open transparency about what is happening in the applications, because this is like web startups, Web 2 startups, except anyone can be a stakeholder and the community collectively owns and operates them. And so having that ability for everyone to see what's happening inside the application on a day-to-day or even real-time basis, super, super cool.
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, in fact, all of this, it's already open. So if we go, for example, into view block, we are able to see what's happening a little bit, let's say. But it's not as easy as just going and having the exact detail of what's happening. You need to go track things out and everything. So yeah, having a logging system, as you mentioned it, makes a lot of sense, and it's a lot easier because yeah, even for example for DAOs on Ethereum, you can go and track things on what's happening in that DAO, but it's a lot harder because you need to go and check the blockchain itself, the transactions itself.
Right. Yeah, and I think what's nice about this is you've got elegant formatting in it as well for human readable, what would you say, human readable events, basically. So ViewBlock can easily integrate this and then just have an applications tag if they so wanted to, as well as transactions. And then they just show a log of all of the interactions with the application, the TX ID, but then a human readable print of like, what was this thing that happened in the app? It's really cool. I think a lot more founders will pick it up when they read about it. But that I'm guessing is going to be when it's on the R-Wiki. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe you can tell us a little bit about where you think the profit sharing community ecosystem is going, over the next few years, and like predictions are very dangerous. But if you could project out 5 years, what would you expect to see? When we're at ArConf 6 or 12, whether we do it yearly or yearly. What do you expect we'll be thinking about and talking about then?
Well, I find it really, really difficult to predict the future on the crypto space because everything grows and it moves so fast, so quickly. But I think, for example, NFTs, it's something that it's here to stay. I think it will move a little bit on what it is right now. I think it will evolve into something else maybe, or just grow to something else. But I think they are here to stay. So that's one of the things that I'm pretty excited to see what will be an NFT in 5 years from now, for example. And for the communities, the profit sharing communities also, I'm pretty sure it will grow pretty fast. Like one of the things I cannot wait to see is that new contracts start existing that could interact with that community, but that has different sets of rules that are defined since the very beginning. Because right now we have one contract that works, for example, with profit sharing communities, how we know it right now. But I already see many different approaches that could happen into this contract and iterate it and make something else on it. I think it's really, really difficult to know what will happen in 5 years. But one thing also I'm pretty sure, at least from my side, is that we are still at the very beginning on all of this. So I'm really, really excited to see how the entire ecosystem, not just for communities, but also for the entire Arweave ecosystem, will grow and what's coming next. It's really, really fun.
Yeah, and I think you're right. One of the interesting things about CommunityXYZ is, again, it's an open protocol, or it's like an open interface, really, where you can actually plug in whatever kind of contract you want on the back end. So most people are just using the standard profit sharing community contract right now, but very, very possibly you can just implement something new or have new dynamics. And I think Amplify, who we're going to hear from later, their profit sharing community has completely different dynamics baked into it, but of course it's compatible with that user interface. It's really
exactly. As long as you have the basics of a profit sharing community, so transfer, vote, mint lock, you can in fact build anything else on top of it. And it will work right from the dashboard also for the basic functionalities that I mentioned just now.
Yeah, amazing. That's really cool. And you even see it going the other way already. So ViewBlock now has integration for votes from profit sharing communities, which originated from the CommunityXYZ contracts. It's very cool.
Yeah, and I think they have integrated also a little bit of the activities. You mentioned the activities because I noticed that they have the categories. The activities have a category, and it has a description which explains what exactly happened. I didn't see the description, but I saw the categories, for example, transfer, mint, log, things like that. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I think they're extracting the function call name there. But
yeah,
I'm sure the ViewBlock guys are around here somewhere. We could probably ask them afterwards.
Yeah,
anyway,
for sure.
Yeah, thanks for spreading some of your wisdom, Cedrik. Anything else you want to talk about?
Just one other thing: keep building, keep growing the ecosystem, and yeah, as Tate mentioned at the beginning, if you have any questions, if you need any help, just feel free to ask. We are a really fun community, and we are always happy to help everyone. So yeah, just let's chat, let's keep growing and keep building amazing stuff on top of Arweave.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Cedrik.
Thank you.